Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Victoria Pikowska. I'm the founder of Victory Art, and today we're going to have our next seminar together. We will be discussing very important thing about basically your art career and what makes your art career stand out. I would say this is one of the biggest issues what I see with artists and actually with in many different fields in various industries and in general in life. And that's why we put it in our seminar session in order to discuss this a little bit more, give you some examples and to see how we can help you. So let's jump directly to it. So we're Victory Art and we are breaking stereotypes and building new perceptions about Central and Eastern Europe. I would love to say that these seminars are co-funded by the European Union, and we're really glad that they give us this opportunity to really help artists to grow their careers more, to do these seminars, to actually share it with you, share the valuable knowledge. In case you're interested in having consultancy with us, make sure that you contact us at curator@victoryart.eu, and you can schedule a consultancy session with us or our partners GJW, who you could see actually last week, and you will be you can discuss everything what's bothering you, like all your issues in art industry, and we will try to find a way how to make it work in the best way possible. So welcome today, and before we really start, I'd love to tell you that please be mindful of others when they speak. Keep your microphones off until there are questions and answers, Q&A. If you have any question in the meantime and you're concerned that you might forget about it, just put it in the chat. I'm going to read it later on. Please be respectful and mainly have a great time. So a little bit about us. We're Victory Art, and we're helping artists to really build their careers, and we help to change this perception about Central and Eastern Europe. So in case you did not know about us and you're artists from Central and Eastern Europe, do not hesitate to message us at curator@victoryart.eu, and we'll make sure that we're going to get in touch with you. So today we're going to talk about how to create your brand as an artist. This topic is very crucial, very important. And as I mentioned before, we see a lot of artists struggling with this specific thing. Next week, we're going to talk about guide on how to create a proper portfolio. And next week, we're going to have actually 2 seminars. And during the second one, our partners from GJW are going to talk about art on the internet. So definitely stay tuned about this. If you have really questions about any of these topics, just message us at curator@victoryart.eu, and our team will love to help you. So you can see that our seminars are going to run until the 22nd of December. We're going to finish our seminars with how to pack and ship like a pro. And I believe that it's going to be very exciting for you. So today we will be discussing how to create your brand as an artist. What it means, like creating your own brand, how to find yourself as an artist, what are the main points you should take, what to do in case you have an identity crisis, how to stay consistent. This is my favorite part because it's the most important part, and some real life examples. So I already mentioned about us. We're working with talented artists from Central and Eastern Europe, and we help them to come to the global art world. We're working with talented painters, drawers, photographers, digital artists. Recently, we started taking steps as well with sculptures. So definitely, if you're one of them, contact us. And if you need help, we're going to continue these whole sessions with seminars from the 1st of January. So how to create your brand and what it means in general brand. We already had before a seminar about marketing, branding, and how to like stay unique, and that's very important. But this one is will be completely about the branding. And I believe this is the most important part in artist career. You can be great salesperson. You can be a great marketeer. You can be great artist. You can do a lot of good things. But if you do not stand out from others, then how and why should people buy you? Why you're unique? Why you are the one who they should choose from many artists out there? For example, these paintings, they have very minimalistic style. And if you would see the artist portfolio, it's very consistent, very minimalistic. That can be branding point. We have artists who are working with 24 karat gold, who are as well, that's basically their brand. They're working with 24 karat gold. In each painting, there is like either powder or like these small tiny plates of 24 karat gold. We have artists who created their own technique from like cutting small papers and very thin papers and layering it. Then we have sustainable artists out there. You can have even outsider art, and like you know what direction I'm going. There's kind of like something specific how you can name a particular artist. So let's say Helmut Newton. I don't know how many people know him here, but Helmut Newton was taking pictures of not only models but as well regular people, but it was always kind of like this glamorous style. It was a lot of naked females or like a lot of nudity in general. It was majority of time black and white. He was taking a lot of pictures for Vogue and different fashion magazines. So if you check his work, it's very consistent and people know him for this. Another photographer, Diane Arbus, she was very well known to take pictures of minorities and kind of like this underground people or people who were not like presented in society, disabled people. She was quite creating this argument in society. She was really putting these people in front of your face, very, very dramatic pictures. Who else? Sebastian Salgado, right, with his book Genesis and his documentary photography. This is literally his brand. If we look into maybe more mainstream things, you can think about, let's say, artist Marilyn Monroe, right? She was very feminine. She's still like idol of femininity, and this was her brand. That's why people loved her. She had this kind of brand. So this is what you want to achieve when people will talk about you, when people think about you, and when people will see your work. So think about what message you want to bring to your audience. What do you want to tell them? One of the ways how you can do it is, of course, through your art. Another is through your social media. Another way is through your presentation, like can be your portfolio, how you present it, can be let's say your public appearance, and I don't mean on social media, I mean PR, TV, podcast, like a lot. Maybe you are, as an artist, are doing a lot of different things. So just try to think about this and really deeply give yourself feedback. Why am I currently different and why people should currently buy me? Well, how to find yourself as an artist? When you start creating art or when you start creating your career, you probably in the beginning do a lot of different things. And that's fine. That's perfect. You try a lot of techniques, colors, maybe media. There can be many different things you can try. However, not everybody has to see everything what you did. right? Probably like those things you did in the beginning, it's great to still have them, like, I don't know, maybe in your album, maybe have it somewhere in some other portfolio, but you want to mainly present what you are characteristic with. So before you do that, you have to create a lot of art. So do that, but just don't show it to everybody. Think about what you want to say with your art and what your art actually means. So this is very much connected with what we discussed before. It's about message. It's about what you want to share through your art, with your art. What message is there, or what vibe, feeling you want people to have when they look at it. And so really think about it. One of the ways, like the best ways, you can create your brand is to work with art series and work with collections. So let's say, I would say this is like the easiest way how to start. So as I discussed, Sebastian Salgado, he had book about India. He had book about Genesis, about nature. He had many different books, and within these books, like he studied for many years particular topic. So this can be something what connects you. So in spite of the fact that he worked on different things, so documentary, sometimes it was like documenting more nature, kind of like the landscape stuff, through like really doing the hardcore documentary of people, but it was always documentary, and people knew him for that. So maybe this kind of style can be what makes you as well stand out and what makes you unique. And mainly, if you want to work on something which should take many years to be created, and it will really take a lot of your effort, make sure that you create something you really love and you're passionate about. Because when you do that, people can feel it. People can feel it from you by talking to you. People can feel it from the artwork. It's just very visible. So definitely, this is number one thing what you should consider. Well, in terms of consistency, it's important to have a consistent, not necessarily like a topic or theme you're painting, but it's about having some key point which is making you consistent in your work. So can be doing specific documentary photography, but documentary photography is still quite like broad genre. So be very specific, like Salgado was taking pictures of people, he was studying different countries. That can be something what you do. Or I knew one artist who was only painting blue artworks. And the reason why he did that was that blue has the most shades. And yeah, he was just like experimenting with different blue colors. He created even his own blue color. So this was like his whole life study. It can be, as I mentioned, one of our artists, she created her own technique. This can be something what you can stand out. So normally in the branding, you have logos, you have fonts, you have as well colors. You have a way how you talk. Like brand has like a way how to talk to people, but it's about consistency. So make sure that you are really consistent with this thing. Well, if you don't know how the branding of your artworks really work, one of the best things is that you contact us and you get a consultancy with us at the curator@victoriaart.eu. And another thing is that you really start creating a lot of things. Sometimes it's good to not think about it, especially in the beginning when you're very confused about what you want to achieve. So just keep creating. And let's say after a year of consistent creating or 2 years of consistent creating, you can look at your whole portfolio, what you created, and you can see like, oh, this is a main topic which is repeating in my work, or maybe this is like a color which I'm using the most. So let's dive more into this. Well, art is And being an artist and making art is a whole life process, and you will be doing it, you will be exploring yourself and your style and art forever. I promise you, really, it's like never ending process. So get comfortable with that, because it might be very uncomfortable sometimes. You will feel like, oh, like I don't know who I am and stuff, but yeah. Actually, when I used to attend classes in my art academy, there was a nice motto next to the main entrance by one of very famous Czech writers, and it said that in the end of the life, one arrives where he should be in the beginning. And this was really meant in a way that artists are trying to really get perfect, and they try to really achieve a lot with their art and stuff, and it's not bad, but many times it happens that it kind of takes from them the playfulness children have. And this whole quote is basically saying that in the end of the life, and when you are like, when you achieve like that top of artistic life, you really start creating with so much passion and so much uh, yeah, playfulness and like freedom, what you wanted to, where you actually been in the beginning as a child, you know, when you were doing like this small paintings in preschool or in primary school. So this is really beautiful thing to think about. So practice, and practice consistently. During my art career, I got so much bad feedback, but it's fine. It's fine. Like, you will get a lot of bad feedback, and especially in the art industry, I believe you get even more bad feedback than in another industries, because art is so specific and everybody has opinion about everything, literally. And you have to find people who like your art. I mean, especially with clients. You cannot try to sell your art to someone who really hates abstract and your art is abstract. That just doesn't make sense. So think about that fact that art is really such specific and personal thing that you have to have a certain kind of like a distance from the negative feedback at the same time. And maybe if you're gonna create a lot of things and you really don't know where you got, you know, like maybe you really wanted to do abstract, but then in the end you're starting doing only realism, and it's just very confusing for you. You might have some identity crisis. And in order to not have identity crisis, what's actually in art, it's very normal. It's about really being self-critical and in like a very objective way. So make sure that you look properly at your art and you analyze it. It's not only about creating that art, it's about analyzing it. And if you do not know who you are, get perspective. Really, get perspective. You can get as well professional advice from art curators or art advisors or consultants. There's so many of them, or gallerists. But start with yourself and start like with what you want to achieve through your art. Wow. There are as well other few things how you should be consistent with your brand. So the most important one, what we already discussed, is about knowing your message, knowing what you want to share, who you want to basically approach, like why your art should be touching. Like maybe it's like kind of art which will be very, very niche. So think about your message. And once you have a message, you can go further and you can think about who might be interested in buying my art. Well, if you're doing some very, very interesting art full of nudity, probably isn't going to be the best to put it in school, right? So this is quite exaggerating, but it's important for you to understand that if you do not know your message and you are not targeting it to right people, you cannot have success with like audience and with people. So make sure that you know your message and that you think about audience you want to share it with. As well, what I mentioned before, if you try to sell your art to person who is not interested in abstract art and you're doing abstract art, you will not sell anything. So think about it. Think about the price you have. So is it like too pricey for the audience I'm looking at? So really think about it. Another thing is that you have to align your actions with your brand. So how are you promoting it? Where are you promoting it? What are you telling people when you're promoting it? It's not only about social media, it's at the same time about PR. It's about talking with clients directly. So if your art is strongly about sustainability, but you do not talk about sustainability, you talk about, I don't know, you talk about human rights, then it just doesn't match. So your message has to as well match with your actions and how you present yourself. Number one thing always when you want to sell art is interaction with people, with your clients, with your fans. The best one is of course in person during your exhibitions or like other promotional events, whatever, like so many options out there. However, if you do not talk to people directly and you do not share with them your success, what's new with your art, what's your plans, you do not open yourself to them, they will not be very interested in buying you, and they will not understand your brand. So make sure that it's there. And if it doesn't work, think about why it doesn't work and make adjustments. Change your strategy. Sometimes even like a small tweaks can help a lot. And of course, think about the fact that it takes years and it takes time and it takes experience. So do not expect to be next Damien Hirst in a half year. It's not possible. Victory Art has multiple very, very talented artists who are selling very well. They're full-time artists, and it took them 20 years. And of course, with art, it usually takes a little bit longer than maybe with other careers, like in finance or stuff. But it is what it is, and you're creative for some reason. And I don't want to tell you stop creating art, absolutely not. I want you to have really perspective, so you do not like beat yourself down because in 1 year you do not exhibit in MoMA. Like you have to be very realistic about these things. I have two great examples about great branding. So this artist, you might know him, Dave Newman, is a great example of like a nostalgic American inspired style, which is very unique and at the same time very consistent. And he basically kind of puts together a random objects he finds, and this way he creates like imaginary land. So he has very clear vision about what he's doing. Make sure that you check him. And this is actually a very good tip, that you start checking very famous artists and you start like seeing this connection in their work. And sometimes might be that you will not see it in the first time, but if you really start studying and maybe even like watching some documentaries, you will be able to see it. So think about as well studying like masters. Another one is oh, this is quite tough, Julian Perez. And he has as well amazing example of his works in oil and bronze and basically like the figurative subjects. And this style is just very, very consistent with him. So if you want to create your own brand, make sure that you know how really successful artists promote themselves and what's their branding and the consistency. I understand you might have very limited resources, you might have time limited resources, financial limitations. There are a lot of things, but you can do so many amazing things literally with nothing for free. For social media, you can use, let's say, amazing tool Canva, which is even coming for free. You have many templates. You can schedule social media. You can create videos, posts, reels, so many different things, presentations. You can create your portfolio there. It's so easy to do that. Or another thing can be that you just go to different PR communities and you ask people to if they would be actually willing to write article about you. So think about ways how you can do the best with basically zero cost, because you can do a lot with it. So if you have any questions, feel free to actually turn on your microphone or write it in the chat. And next week, next Tuesday, we're going to talk about guide on how to create a proper portfolio and how to make it look amazing. How can you make sure that when you go to gallery, to private collector, to maybe company, that they will be interested in buying your products? So if you do not have any questions, I would love to say thank you so much for joining us today. It was very exciting for me to actually talk to you and share this information with you. And if you would love to participate in consultancies, please contact us at curator@victoryart.eu. We will love to help you, and have an amazing evening.